Welcome into another episode of Mood Swings with Liv Moods. I'm Liv Moods, and of course, this show is presented by Landmark Lincoln. Go to Landmark Lincoln off of Bellevue and Broadway to figure out why they have been the #1 Lincoln dealer in Colorado for many, many, many years. We've got lots to discuss, NBA, NFL, so let's get into it.
Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of Mood Swings with Liv Moods. I'm Liv Moods, and we have much to discuss on this Victory Tuesday. Yes, not a Victory Monday, but a Victory Tuesday, because the Broncos did take on the Cincinnati Bengals for Monday Night Football. A little primetime dub. Nobody's mad about that. I'm certainly not mad about that. Broncos win 28-3 versus the Cincinnati Bengals that are currently being offensively ran by Jake Browning. I think there were some flashes of greatness, maybe not greatness, goodness from Jake Browning taking over for Joe Burrow, but ultimately this Bengals team is not the same without Joe Burrow. We know that. I'm not downplaying this Broncos win, but I do think this is an entirely different football game if you have Joe Burrow available and healthy. That being said, speaking of quarterbacks, Bo Nix, 326 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns, 1 interception. I want to clarify my stance on Bo Nix really quick. Is Bo Nix perfect? Absolutely not. Is anyone perfect? Absolutely not. So I don't expect perfection from Bo Nix. And I also want to say there's going to be a moment where I shed some of the blame on other positions on this team. But for now, let's talk about him. He just doesn't look quite settled in just yet. He doesn't look comfortable, not like he did his rookie year. Now, I could give him a little bit more grace if it were his rookie season and say, okay, he's just getting warmed up. There's just some little things that he's got to figure out, but he does look uncomfortable. Could this be play calling? Possibly, but we are seeing actually the play calling, in my opinion, work. I think what Sean Payton is drawing up is getting players wide open, and last game, we saw Bo Nix with some overthrows, but this game, we did actually see some receivers just fall short, the ball in their hands, and they're not making the catch. But I do want to talk about Bo for just a moment. We're seeing a lot of this sideways running. We're seeing this in the evolution of the game of football, where the quarterback play is becoming much more athletic and dynamic. And while that's a really, really great thing, I just think when Bo Nix is in the pocket, steady on his feet, he really knows how to air it out in a very, very, very great way. There's a couple of times where I just want him to steady his feet a little bit. Plant your feet to the ground. Obviously, we know that he is severely athletic. He's hard to sack. He likes to move around. So I don't expect his game style to change because for the most part, it is working. Now, I do want to say, we'll actually get to that in a second. Let's wait till the end to talk about that. We talk about Bo. We talk about the play calling and how in a lot of instances it is working this season. However, I do think Sean Payton likes to be cute a little too often when it comes to the offense. I think the simpler, the better. He likes the tricky play calls. He likes to get cute with it. I think simplifying it is the answer. If there is short yardage, run the ball. Don't put Bo in a position for me to even be ticked off, okay? He shouldn't be in that position with short yardage. Run the ball, especially when you have a guy like J.K. Dobbins. Can I get a hallelujah amen from the chat? Hallelujah amen. The Broncos rushing for 150 yards. When was the last time we saw that? Well, I will tell you, 16 carries for 101 yards is what we got from J.K. Dobbins. He is the first Broncos rusher in the last 38 games to finally hit 100+ rushing yards in a game. Did you guys just hear what I said? How absurd is that? 38 games it has been since we have seen a Broncos player with over 100 rushing yards. Dobbin, to me, was an absolutely great get, an absolute free agency steal, and I love what we saw from him last night. I hope we only get more of that. He seems to be really happy here. He was praising the fan base of Broncos country. But J.K. Dobbins, to me, was a free agency steal for this Broncos team. We saw it last night. I think we're going to continue to see it. And I do think when you have a guy on the ground that can change the game, it alleviates some of the pressure that you've got on Bo Nix. Bo Nix doesn't have to be that guy every game. He can have a turnover, and it isn't the end of the world. It doesn't feel costly because we're moving the ball. God bless America. Never thought we'd be here, but we're here. I talked a little while ago, maybe 2 shows ago or a show ago, I'm not sure, about the lack of discipline on this offense. And so help me God, these offensive penalties have got to get under control. I am about to lose it. If you want to play a fun drinking game with a surefire way to black out, take a shot every time the Broncos offense gets a penalty. You might not even remember your name. I'm serious. This is getting a little out of control because at the end of the day, these are self-inflicted wounds. You may be able to get away with all of the penalties that this Broncos team had last night versus a backup quarterback like they did last night. They win 28-3. Despite many, many, many self-inflicted wounds. That may have worked last night. It certainly will not work against other teams, especially the Philadelphia Eagles, who are next in line to take on the Denver Broncos. These are just self-inflicted wounds that are so preventable. They're unnecessary. You can't have them. They will be what stands in this Broncos team's way of either winning games or being a serious playoff contender. You just can't have it. The lack of discipline definitely needs to change. And speaking of discipline, there has to be a little bit more from our receivers as well. I just talked a little bit about Bo Nix, and obviously we saw some overthrown balls. I do want him to plant his feet a little bit more and just have a little more confidence in the pocket because I know what he can do when he does that. That being said, there also has to be some, not only discipline from our receivers, but accountability by our receivers as well. Let's roll the tape.
Field and let him go. And he got a little anxious. He saw it. He knew exactly what he had.
I beg your pardon? It was in his hands. Troy Franklin, really love what we've seen from him when you compare it to last season. He's this close to being, in my opinion, reliable for Bo Nix, but he's not there just yet. He is really stinking close. But Troy Franklin, you just can't have drops like that. It was in his hands and he didn't get it. So there seems to be a little bit of a miscommunication still, or just like the chemistry's almost there, but it's not there just yet. And Troy Franklin's the guy that you expected the most from, considering the history that he's got with Bo Nix. So you got to see a little more discipline and a little more accountability from our receivers, just as much as you see it from Bo Nix. This game, in my opinion, was a far more accurate representation of what we expected from the Broncos this season. Obviously, a win is a win, but there is still some cleaning up to do. I'm not fully satisfied yet. That's the thing. I'm always wanting more because I do think this is a Broncos team that on paper really could be a contender. And I'm not just talking about the playoffs. I believe that. So tidying these things up, getting a little more disciplined, alleviating some of those penalties and self-inflicted wounds, and this team can go up against just about anybody, but it's kind of up to them at this point. I do believe that this Monday Night Football game was do or die. It was a must win. So I feel like the Broncos now have a little bit more momentum to go into some of these tougher games because this next month is not going to be a cakewalk. So they've got to get some of these things tidied up. Another Monday Night Football conversation here. Tyreek Hill, devastating injury. And if you're wondering, I glanced at it because I didn't really have a choice, unfortunately. It was kind of all over my timeline. Everybody and their grandmother was watching it, reposting it, quote tweeting it. He got very injured. It was ugly. It was gruesome. I didn't watch it for very long because I don't do the whole bones thing. If your leg doesn't look how a leg should look, I don't want to see it. I'm good, and it was a really, really brutal looking injury. Sounds like it was an ACL amongst some other tears that he's got going on. And I know he was going into surgery today. So prayers up for Tyreek Hill in that regard. But what was more interesting, the injury was gnarly. What felt a little more gnarly to me was Tyreek Hill's reaction to a potential season-ending injury. Let's watch.
And this is a tough one. Trying to smile through the disappointment.
Was he celebrating by chance? That's kind of what it looked like. Now, if I had over 70 million guaranteed and I didn't have to stress about catching a ball from Tua for the rest of the season and I still got my bag, I might celebrate too a little. It's just a very strange thing to do on national television in front of all of your fans, right? You would think there'd be a little bit of like oh, let me at least pretend to be sad here and then I'll take this to the locker room. No, he was celebrating. And I actually took to Twitter and I said, was he celebrating? And some people said, I think he was just acknowledging the fans. No, he said yes. You could see his mouth saying yes with his arms in the air. That's what I do when my bet hits or, I get good news. This was a potential season-ending injury, and this man had his arms above his head yelling yes with a smile on his face. He didn't look sad at all. So while the Dolphins may not accomplish much this season, they have accomplished their wide receiver one being happy about not playing football again this season. That is an accomplishment. I've never seen that before. Usually they know how to fake it. Tyreek Hill had no interest in faking it whatsoever. He was thrilled, actually. He was truly thrilled. So that's something. It kind of makes me wonder, was that the last time we're ever going to see Tyreek Hill play for the Miami Dolphins? I know he is absolutely sick of being there. I don't know how he's not. So makes you wonder, Tyreek Hill, done for good? Moving on from the Miami Dolphins? What is in store? I don't know, but whatever it is, I have a feeling it's not in Miami. Okay. NBA Media Days are back, you guys, and there is so much to discuss. I want to save a lot of NBA stuff for Friday as well. There's a lot of storylines with different teams, but specifically, it felt wrong to not address the Denver Nuggets, okay? The Denver Nuggets, here are some of my takeaways from their media day. They're now in training camp, which means the season is literally right around the corner. I could not be more excited. You guys know the Denver Nuggets specifically and the NBA as a whole was my first love in sports. I love watching basketball. Here are some of the takeaways from the Denver Nuggets media day yesterday. First, from Coach Adelman, who states, the vibe is at an all-time high. Everybody is on the same page. We know what the goal is. And you know what? I love hearing him say this because if you watch back last season or the year before, it felt like we saw a lot of the athletes in different moments, whether it be Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, Jamal, MPJ, whatever the case, whoever the case. We watched Denver Nuggets players in different situations all kind of say the same thing, which is we all have to be on the same page. We all have to want it. We need more effort. We need more of this. It felt like there was a misalignment. So to hear Coach Adelman say, and he was not the only one, there were also players that shared this same sentiment yesterday, that everyone's got the same goal right now. That is such a good feeling because there's no denying the talent that is on this Denver Nuggets roster. But part of winning a championship and being a successful sports team is having the right culture, having the right mindset, having the right chemistry. And a lot of that starts off the court and in the locker room and just having conversations. So if the Nuggets already feel confident about everyone being aligned on the same goal, then you also add the level of talent on this roster. I'm feeling pretty good. So it feels really good to hear Coach Adelman say that. We obviously know most coaches during media days are going to only talk about the positive things, but this is a really important little nugget, no pun intended, of information to hear from him specifically because we know just how many misalignments there were last season, not just with players, but also with front office and coach. Okay, so if David Adelman already feels like we are all on the same page, everybody is on the same page, that is really, really important for this Denver Nuggets team moving into this season. Okay, next, new additions. Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Jonas Valanciunas all shared the same thought, which is their excitement to win a championship. And you know what I love about this? I also saw Valanciunas state, I'm here now, I'm happy to be here, and I can't wait to win a championship. What that tells me is Valanciunas may not know what comes next, okay? Bruce Brown may not know what comes next, but while they're here right now, they are seeing what we as Denver Nuggets fans are also seeing, which is how capable this team can be. it kind of feels like a lot of the players on this roster, it's like, it's now or never. That's the mindset going into this season. Look at what we have. Look at all of the problems we've addressed. Look at the additions to this team. It's now or never. This is our moment. We've got to do it. So to hear all the new guys not just say, hey, I can't wait to be on this team. Hey, I can't wait to play alongside Nikola Jokic. It's, I can't wait to win a championship. That is their mindset as they enter this season. And that feels really good, especially from new guys, because they're walking into a culture where they can feel that energy. And I love that. Bruce Brown, as you guys know, I am absolutely thrilled to have Bruce Brown back in Denver. He shared that during his time both in Toronto and New Orleans, he always wanted to be back in Denver no matter what the money looked like. And this to me is a huge reflection of the problems that existed in our front office over the last couple of seasons. I vividly remember being at the championship parade and hearing Coach Malone say, Bruce Brown's not going anywhere. In that very moment, I can almost guarantee you that Calvin Booth said, bet, he's gone. They had this ongoing childish feud that they could not hash out between one another. They had to drag everybody else into it and kind of play chess with these athletes. So it would not shock me if just out of spite, Calvin Booth said, bye-bye, Bruce, because I know how bad Coach Malone wants you, and I don't want to give Coach Malone anything that he desires. So really unfortunate that Bruce Brown ever had to leave in the first place, but how good does it feel to know that he's back here, always wanted to be back here, and he didn't care what the money looked like in order to make it happen. You know you're going to get passion out of a guy like that. He wants to be here, and he likely wants to win another championship here. So that is a really, really great feeling. He, to me, brings a certain sense of home or comfort, kind of in the same way KCP did, where it's just like, they've played for different teams. Obviously, KCP had a little bit more success, but played for different teams, seen different cultures, but genuinely loved being here. And I love that. So shout out to Bruce Brown. Obviously, we are thrilled to have him back in Denver. CB, who made the ESPN's top 100 NBA players list this season and had an outstanding season last year as a starter for the first time for the Denver Nuggets, says, everything everyone in this locker room has ever wanted, we have. Before I finish this quote, pause on that. Everything everyone in this locker room has ever wanted, we have. Okay. Everything we need is inside our locker room right now. Let's make it a no excuse season. Gosh, I just got goosebumps. I'm so serious. I know it doesn't take much. How many times? We should do a goosebump count on this show, because I think at this point I've probably gotten goosebumps 15 times. But I absolutely love hearing that from a guy like Christian Braun, because I do feel like in so many ways he kind of is the energy of this starting lineup. He's young, he's explosive, he plays hard and tough every single game, and hopefully after the season he had last year, he's willing to step into a leadership role a little bit. Don't be afraid to use your voice, CB, because quite frankly, if I were CB last season, I would have been in people's faces. Like, why am I trying harder than you are? Because he was busting his balls every single game without fail. Christian Braun, you knew without a shadow of a doubt was going to show up and give you 110% every game, and that's what he did. So for him to say we have everything we've ever wanted, and everything we need is inside our locker room right now, just shows that the front office addressed issues. They listened to the concerns of the players and the team. They did their research, and they handled the vulnerabilities and the weaknesses of the Denver Nuggets, as every front office should do. But Calvin Booth did not do for many, 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 many years. So feels really refreshing and nice that we've got obviously a front office that addressed many concerns in the offseason, and it feels like the team knows that. They feel really good about that. Sounds like Jamal Murray is feeling the best that he's felt. He's feeling much better than last summer. I'm hoping that means he's rested. His body feels good. Mentally, he feels good. But the sentiment from Jamal Murray is that he's ready to win. Jamal Murray doesn't typically give you much in a post-game presser or at media day. He's a man of few words, or he just keeps it very mysterious and ominous. Like, you don't always know what he's thinking. You're like, okay, you just won and you had a 60-point game and you're frowning. What's happening? That's how Jamal Murray is. But he did have a sense of, he had a little sparkle behind his eyes at media day this year. He didn't look emotionally, mentally, and physically drained. So I'm really hoping that Jamal Murray in this offseason was able to get the rest that he needs and is locked in and ready to go. If we see a completely changed version of Jamal Murray, I'm looking to MPJ, Calvin Booth, and Mike Malone and saying, what did you do to our guy Jamal? Because if we just see him just absolutely rejuvenated, we've got to have a serious conversation about what was wrong with him for the last 2 years, because he was not himself. We know that. He wasn't playing like a max contract player every game. So I'm excited to see what Jamal brings to the table early. We always like to make excuses for Jamal and say, oh, he'll get there once it's playoff Jamal. I want to see playoff Jamal every game. I want to see this man make an all-star team. I want to see Jamal ready to win from the beginning. And from what I saw at media day, it sounds like we might be there with him. He had a little twinkle in his eyes, guys. I'm serious. I'm not making this up. We might get playoff Jamal in October. Buckle your seatbelts. AG plans to turn it up on defense. Please and thank you. He basically talked about the fact that we have enough offensive firepower and talent. I've got to be better on defense. I've got to make that a priority because that's one of our weak spots. Thank you, Aaron Gordon. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. You couple that mentality and priority by Aaron Gordon, which, by the way, Aaron Gordon, if he sets his mind to something, we know he's going to figure it out. He used to stress me out beyond belief at the three-point line or the free throw line, and he became all reliable last season. So I have no doubt in my mind that if he makes that a priority, it will happen. You couple that with Valanciunas, who credits his toughness as his most developed skill. The Nuggets have addressed two of the issues that I know of, which is their aggression and their defense. Thank you so kindly. I'm feeling pumped about this. And finally, and arguably the most important takeaway of the entire media day comes from the best player in the world. Let's listen to it.
I mean, I had to think about it. I think those contracts, extensions comes as a reward, as something that is natural to the sport, especially in today's NBA, how you see how the salary cap is going and everything. So my plan is to beat Nuggets forever. So that's my answer.
What was that? Did he say my plan is to be Nuggets forever? Yeah, shut it down, Lakers fans, in your dreams. Shut up. You know, everyone saw he's not signing the max extension. Ooh, be scared, Nuggets fans. Shut up. Okay, guys, seriously. Quit pulling things out of your behind. He gets more money if he waits. We all knew what this was. You're just living in La La Land yet again. I mean, listen, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting a new person. My personality's coming back. And by that, I mean, we are like a few weeks away from me being able to troll Lakers fans every day of my life. And do you know how good that feels? Do you know what that does for me in my soul? And now I can confidently say to people, guys, shut it down. Nikola Jokic is a Nugget. Nikola Jokic, unless something crazy happens, he is not leaving Denver. So if you want to see Luka and Jokic play together, then you're going to have to watch it with a Nuggets jersey on, I'm afraid. Sorry, it is what it is. Although I would love to see Luka and Jokic play on the same team, it's got to happen in Denver. Sorry, it's just the case. It's the facts. He says, my plan is to be Nuggets forever. God bless America. I think Nuggets fans always knew this to be the case. But Lakers fans just needed a storyline to help them sleep at night. You know, that team always loves a storyline. They love a headline. No one was talking about the Lakers because they weren't in the playoffs, you know, so they had to come up with something to stay interesting and relevant. And Nikola Jokic potentially being on their team was that for them. Shut it down. Okay, now we can move along with our lives. Thank you so kindly. Okay, Russell Westbrook. Oh. Guys, you already know how this makes me feel. I'm devastated. For the first time in 17 years, Russell Westbrook was not present for an NBA media day. I am sick. Despite the interest in Sacramento, Russell Westbrook remains teamless. And here's what you're not going to convince me out of feeling. You can try, but you won't. This league will not be the same without Russell Westbrook. And don't you dare get in the comment section and say, yeah, it'll be better. No, it won't. And honestly, unless he privately retired, this feels insanely disrespectful. This is a legend who, in his 17th season, was still balling out. Whether you want to agree with it or not, you guys love the polarizing nature of Russell Westbrook should be a case study, honest to God, because the haters of Russell Westbrook, it's like you guys sit around and scratch your skin like you're fiending for drugs, waiting for him to make a mistake. It's the strangest behavior I've ever seen out of people. It feels so disrespectful that he's not on a team, unless he has retired and we had no idea, because Russell Westbrook was still contributing on the basketball court 17 years in. And quite frankly, I could name a few players that Russell Westbrook, 17 years in, could replace and the team would be better for it. Fight with the wall on that one. Let's compare and contrast Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook for a second. I'm not going to. I'll let you do that. But you're not going to tell me or convince me that Russell Westbrook doesn't belong on any team or that no team in the NBA could benefit from having Russell Westbrook. Get out of here. Goodbye. Shut it down. Okay? No. Shut it down. Russell Westbrook deserves to be on an NBA team. It makes me sick that this league may not have him this season. I just don't like it one bit. I don't. So I'm going to hold on to the fact and make it up in my head that he has privately and quietly retired, because otherwise this makes no sense to me. Okay, let's talk some football, shall we? Let's get into A.J. Brown. Does A.J. Brown have a right to be frustrated? A.J. Brown took to his Instagram story after the Eagles improved to 4-0, and it wasn't to celebrate, actually. No. This quote says, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. For some perspective, Brown had 2 catches on 9 targets for 7 yards. 7. Yes, you heard that correct. Brown this season, 14 total receptions. To put it in perspective, Puka Nacua had 13 receptions in 1 game. Keep in mind, and here's where I'm going to side with A.J. Brown in this one. Keep in mind, this is not a rookie. This is not some mid receiver. This is A.J. Brown, a top receiver in the league if you utilize him correctly. He is in his prime, and he is the captain of the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think we put this in perspective. Nobody, regardless of what you do, ever wants to work in a place or exist in a place where they don't feel respected or valued. End of discussion. That's normal. That's a human feeling. I don't want to work somewhere where I don't feel valued or respected. I don't even want to be in a room or sit at a dinner table where I don't feel valued and respected. This is the captain of the Philadelphia Eagles. Does it really appear that the Eagles value A.J. Brown right now? No. It doesn't. I completely understand that this is a team sport and these are, a win is a win, right? The Eagles are 4-0 as a captain. He should be excited that they're 4-0. I get all that. But at the end of the day, he's also a competitive athlete that wants to be the very best at what he does. And it doesn't feel like the Eagles are giving him a fair shot at doing that. They're not putting him in a position to be the best version of himself right now. So do I understand his frustration? Absolutely. I also sympathize with a guy like A.J. Brown, who's been very transparent and very vulnerable about his mental health. And I imagine this is taking a toll on that. Nobody, I don't care who you are, what you do, nobody wants to work somewhere or exist somewhere where they don't feel respected or valued. And you cannot convince me that what's happening right now with the Philadelphia Eagles and A.J. Brown is showing him that they value him. So, again, I'm not saying Eagles, change your entire game plan. You're 4-0. Whatever you're doing is working. But maybe it's time for A.J. Brown to go somewhere else. Maybe this is where, the road splits and it's an amicable split because I don't think AJ Brown deserves this. I don't. And that's how I feel on that. Okay, let's move on to Cam Ward. Is Cam Ward competitive or immature? I'm going to play the clip and then you get in the comment section and let me know and we'll debrief it.
I mean, if we keeping the buck right now, we ass. So we 0-4. We have, at this point, we got nothing to lose. We dropped a quarter of our fucking games, and we've yet to do anything. So we have to lock in, especially myself. On the offensive line, from the defensive line, from the special teams to all three faces, we have to play together. We have not played together this year yet. And that's just something that, we want to preach about it every day. Every day we got to do better, and we're doing that, but it has to show up on Sundays. It hasn't showed up yet, but it got to show up next week.
So Cam Ward did not forget to mention himself. I've got to be better, but he very specifically said offensive line first, and that actually flew off the tongue. It was a little too easy for him to say that. Here's the deal. If we look at this season for the Titans so far, is Cam Ward any better than Will Levis? Technically speaking, no. There's still a hot damn mess. There's still a lot of problems happening here for the Tennessee Titans. But now I'm starting to wonder, this kind of got me going on a little bit of a spiral here, thinking, was Will Levis really the problem? Because here's what I'm going to tell you. Despite the fact that Cam Ward is keeping it a buck and being very honest, which I respect, these comments by him, in my opinion, are a massive reflection of a bigger issue, which is locker room issues and a broken culture. When Bo Nix makes a mistake and the Broncos lose the game they should have won, he is quick to say, I know that locker room has my back. And guess what the locker room's also saying? Even if Bo Nix was the problem, they're saying, we know how great he is. We've got his back. That's what a good culture looks like. Regardless, win or lose, 0-4 or 4-0, you just have a level of protection for your teammates because you know it's a team sport. Now, Cam Ward was very quick to just be honest. Keep it a buck. Like, we're ass is what he said. If you missed that part. We're ass is what he said. Oh. Cam Ward specifically mentioned the offensive line. By the way, I probably would too if I had been sacked 17 times in 4 games. But was this the place to do it? Definitely not. That being said, I'm not ready to call Cam Ward immature for these statements just yet, because I'm starting to think that there are way more issues with the Tennessee Titans than just the quarterback position. And unfortunately, Will Levis may have just been collateral damage in us figuring that out. You've got Cam Ward, this young, superstar that steps into this program and falls flat on his face. That's where you start to dig a little, and you gotta kind of look at everything as a whole and go, maybe the quarterback is not the issue here. Maybe this is much deeper than that. Because to me, the comments that he made are a larger reflection of a broken culture. Because like I said, there are plenty of quarterbacks that get sacked, that lose every game, that are really struggling, and yet they're standing there maintaining positivity because that's what their culture forces them to do. Cam Ward felt awfully comfortable to say, we're ass. Now, maybe it is an immaturity thing. Maybe he's going to get a slice of humble pie this week and they're going to say, yeah, no, we don't operate that way. But I even saw the coach of the Titans post-game presser getting real angsty and real frustrated. So to me, I don't know if the quarterback position is truly the issue here. I think the Tennessee Titans have a lot that they've got to address. So not willing to call Cam Ward immature just yet. Was it an immature thing to do? Yes. But do I think this just opens the door for a larger conversation of what the hell is going on in Tennessee? Yes, I do. I absolutely do. Okay. That's all I've got for my little recap situation here. We're going to fly through my where do we stand standings here, guys. Fly through them. Where do we stand? Weekly standings for this week. Woo! We're doing quarterback rankings this week. You know why? Week 4 quarterbacks, actually, because if we look at everything as a whole here, I wouldn't have Patrick Mahomes as high as I have Patrick Mahomes, but week 4, we saw something very different from Patrick Mahomes, which is why he is number 5 for me this week, taking down the Baltimore Ravens. I believe Lamar Jackson left that game in the third quarter with a hamstring injury, but it really doesn't matter. You know, Patrick Mahomes was doing what Patrick Mahomes does, which is winning football games versus the Baltimore Ravens. With or without Lamar Jackson, I think the Chiefs were going to win this game. And I think you credit a large part of that to, of course, I believe, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but Xavier Worthy was back. Hell yeah, he was. That's what she said. That obviously makes a huge difference. That's a receiver that is fast, that's going to get open. Patrick Mahomes can finally air it out again because we know Travis Kelce's going to get bonked on the chest with the football and just let it fall to the floor. That's what we've seen so far. He's checked out. But Patrick Mahomes getting some of his weapons back means he's going to start climbing up the rankings. It's just, it is what it is. Okay. It is what it is. Patrick Mahomes at 5, because what we saw from him this week is him kind of in his normal form again. And I think you credit a lot of that to the fact that Xavier Worthy was back. Huge, huge return for this Chiefs offense, who looked a little slow and sluggish in the first 3 weeks. Week 4, though, taking down the Baltimore Ravens, got to feel pretty good if you're a Chiefs fan. At 4, Sam Darnold, duh. I talked about him last show. I don't need to say a whole lot here, folks. Sam Darnold is actually him. Calm down. No, but this week he was up there in the him category. He was. Sam Darnold, you know, he just feels, like I said the last time I talked about Sam Darnold, you see a quarterback that gets passed around to all these different teams, and I think the assumption is like, oh, they're just like, they're mid, they're average. Sam Darnold, when put into a position where he can be successful, you know, O-line's decent, he's got some weapons, he knows how to air it out, man. Sam Darnold, I'm just saying, I like what I see from Sam Darnold. So he's at 4. At 3, Jordan Love, duh. We're going to get into this Cowboy. I got to get a sip of this right here. We're going to get into that stupid Cowboys-Packers game. Yes, we are. And I did call it stupid, despite it being the best football game we've seen all season. Jordan Love really, you know, he's starting to get that energy about him where any time left on the clock and you're feeling okay with Jordan Love. You know, he feels reliable. He feels safe. He can make a play. He's consistent. I think his team trusts him. He's got some leadership. I just really like Jordan Love a lot. I really, really do. He's growing on me. And you know what? I said at the beginning of this season, I don't know if Jordan Love is the guy that can take it all the way. I'm not there yet with him, is what I said. I said, I'm really close, but I'm not there yet. I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer with Jordan Love. He's got something to him. He is a quiet baller. Very quiet, humble baller. You know, like you wouldn't look at Jordan Love and be like, oh, he's got that dog. But then he does. And you're like, whoa, where did that come from? It's like when the shy friend finally stands up and cusses someone out. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were capable of such behavior. Jordan Love is the shy friend that finally cussed you out. Yeah, I like him. Okay. At 2, Matthew Stafford. Guys, before the season started, I said, listen here. This is a guy to me that is constantly in contention for an MVP. He is just lethal. And you've got a Puka Nacua that this combination to me is seamless. It's beautiful. Matthew Stafford is another one of those where until the game is over, he is not done yet. He is going to give his all from start to finish. He's got a great arm. He is consistent. He is reliable. He's accurate. I don't know. I don't have much to say besides I'm a really big fan of Matthew Stafford. And I think as long as the Rams have Matthew Stafford, they're a contender. I truly believe that. As long as Matthew Stafford is the quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams, they are a contender, no matter what. That's how I feel. At 1, this is going to shock you. You might fall out of your chair. I know I certainly did. Dak Prescott. 31 completions off of 40 attempts, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns. in a tie versus the Packers. Yep, how disgusting. How disgusting that you throw for 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, and you don't even win. Disgusting. Nobody won. Okay? I'm going to get into that later because I've got words. I've got words for the NFL, and they might not be kind ones because what the hell was that? But Dak Prescott did ball out, which made me do a little reflection. He's not really the problem in Dallas. Now, in some certain situations, is he problematic? Of course, as am I. In certain situations, as am I. But he's really not the issue, and he really played an excellent game of football versus the Packers. The Packers, who for the first few weeks were looking like the most complete team in football. Dak Prescott, you did your thing here. I want to see you keep doing it, but you did your thing in week 4, and for that, you are number 1 on my week 4 quarterback standings. Duh. Okay, let's get into my favorite segment, Driven Opinions, where I take a back seat and the back seat is a hot seat. My producer comes up with prompts, questions. I have no idea what they are. I'm going to see them for the first time, just like you. And of course, this is driven by Landmark Lincoln. I just dropped my phone. Don't worry about it. Okay, Andy, hit me with it. What's going on? Oh, gosh. What's your baseball walkout song? You guys heard Tia Tamara? Hair grow long like Tia. Money go long like Nia. I am the big idea. That would probably be number 1 because I just love that song. Actually, I love that song so much that when that song comes on, I don't want to be talked to. Don't talk to me. Don't even look at me. I'm in my own world. I am a pop star. So that would probably get me really hyped up. But also, you know what feels more fitting? Honestly, because I would go out there and absolutely crank a home run every time I was up to bat. That's the truth. It only feels fitting that I would have Pop Smoke. May he rest in peace. Pop Smoke. Any level of Pop Smoke. So much so that I've actually warned people, grandparents of mine, that at my wedding, they will hear Pop Smoke. And they have one of 2 options. They either get on the dance floor and they throw it, or they plug their ears. Because regardless, Pop Smoke will be blasting through the speakers. Yeah, I'm a big Pop Smoke girl. And yeah, because I just know I would be an absolute animal up to bat, it would have to be Pop Smoke, I think. Moving on. Okay, what's next? That was too easy. If you could have anything for hands other than hands, what would you have? Oh, gosh. Huh. As a girl that likes to eat, I would say forks. You know why I would also say forks? Because forks can be a weapon. I could stab someone with a fork if I needed to. And I could eat food constantly, which I love to do. So, yeah, I'm going to say forks. Forks for hands if I can't have hands, because I love to eat and because a fork is a multifunctional object. Stabbing and eating. Defense and comfort. Doesn't seem like a bad idea to me. Give me forks for hands. Okay. Is that all we've got? And then I've got my off my chest segment, which is my favorite segment of all time because I get to just rage into the microphone. Yeah, it's true. Liv, what could you possibly be mad about today? The Denver Broncos won. You're right. It is a Victory Tuesday, but because this is the off my chest segment, I am obligated to talk about things that need to change. And here they are. What does the NFL need to ban? Well, there's 2 things they need to ban. Turf and ties. Yep, I don't want a tie game, and we need to do away with turf fields. Let's start with the turf, okay? Players have been pushing for decades, maybe more, for every stadium in the NFL to do away with turf fields. So what is the holdup? How many more players need to get hurt before we start seriously looking into the liability of turf fields? As we know, Malik Neighbors is now out for the season with an ACL tear. But did you know that since the year 2020, Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, Jabril Peppers, Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard, Kyle Fuller, Aaron Rodgers, and now Malik Neighbors have all suffered either an Achilles or an ACL tear on the MetLife turf. That's just in one stadium, folks. Also, Malik Neighbors' injury is practically identical to OBJ's. Both played at LSU, both drafted in the first round, both played for the Giants, both were playing against the Chargers when they got injured, and both got injured on the MetLife turf. If the NFL wants to claim that they prioritize player safety, I think the proof needs to start with every turf field that remains. A 2024 NFLPA survey indicated that 92% of players preferred natural grass for safety reasons. So in my opinion, do not claim to care about player safety being a top priority of yours, NFL, if you still are surveying your players and basically ignoring what they have to say. They've made it pretty stinking clear where they stand on turf fields, yet they still remain. There are still 17 stadiums with turf fields. It's time to make some changes. Now for the ties. Now for the tie ball game. So help me God. Riddle me this. 4 hours of football up way past my bedtime, and I'm a mountain time zone girly. I can't imagine how the East Coast people felt. Way past my effing bedtime, 4 hours of football, overtime, 80 total points scored in this football game, and nobody goes home a winner? This is some sickness going on. What the hell? No, cut it out. These are grown men putting their bodies on the line, playing every weekend, and you tell them nobody wins? It's a draw? Come on. That is soft. We are so not doing this. We have got to get this under control. Nobody won after 4 hours of football and 80 points were scored. Can you imagine laying your head down at night? You're Dak Prescott. You just put 40 points up on the board, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, and you didn't even win the damn football game? You can't even say you lost it either. It's like it didn't happen. It's like the best football game of the entire season didn't even happen. Stop it. NFL, I've had enough. I've had enough. We've got to shut it down. Ties are for babies. Ties are for field day. Oh, you guys all did so good. It's a tie. What are we, 10? Playing kickball at field day in elementary school? This is grown men that want to win. Okay, that's why they do this. They're competitive. They have an ego. They want to win these football games. Get rid of it, okay? Because actually, I am a huge fan of the NFL, but this little BS tie situation is giving college football a leg up. College football has figured out the tie situation, and I love it. You know how much more exhilarating that game would have been if Jordan Love and Dak Prescott were in their 7th overtime? It's 1 a.m. Our eyes are twitching. We have work in the morning, and we're waiting to see who flops first. I mean, come on. I just got goosebumps. Add it to the goosebump count. Seriously, this is absurd. These are grown men. This is ridiculous. It feels like Dak Prescott and Jordan Love, after putting 40 points on the board, both got a participation ribbon. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The devastation. I'm over it. Ban turf fields and ban ties immediately, NFL. So help me. If you want to improve your product and make people happy, do it immediately, because I am not the only person that feels this way. Okay, that's all. I feel so much better. You know, the Off My Chest segment, you guys, it really is so therapeutic for me. It's mostly for me and not for you, actually. No, it's totally for you guys, but it is also for me. It feels very, very good. Okay, that does it. I just scrolled through my rundown, guys. That's it. We just finished Mood Swings, and I'll have you know, I sent my rundown to my producer, Andy, last night, and Andy thought this was going to be a 4-hour show with how much I typed out. What Andy forgot is that I am arguably the largest chatterbox on the planet, so I can speak quickly, efficiently, and with swiftness. And that's exactly what we did today. 50 minutes of showtime, and you guys are getting out of here. And I talked about everything possible. There's nothing left to say. We will have another episode on Friday, though, where I can talk more, of course, because I love it. It's my favorite thing to do. And so, yeah, Friday. Sorry we had to change the day, but obviously the Broncos were playing last night. I wanted to be able to talk about the game, and glad I waited. Victory Tuesday. We're so happy to be here. Okay, that does it for today's episode of Mood Swings with Liv Moods. I'm Liv Moods. This was presented by Landmark Lincoln. Shout out to our friends and family over at Landmark Lincoln. We'll be back Friday, 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Thanks so much for hanging with me, and we'll catch you then.